The West Bank is a focal point of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and within it, the E1 corridor stands as a critical flashpoint. E1, a small stretch of land between Ma'ale Adumim and East Jerusalem, is far more than empty terrain. Its location could determine the fate of a future Palestinian state. For Palestinians, E1 is the last land corridor linking the northern and southern West Bank, essential for a contiguous state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Israeli proponents see E1 as vital for securing Jerusalem and connecting it to major settlements, framing it as a matter of national security. Decades of international pressure have kept E1 development frozen, with world powers warning that building here could destroy any hope for a two-state solution. The area remains a geopolitical fault line, where the visions of two peoples and the interests of the world collide. Now, a political shift threatens to ignite this long-dormant controversy. The E1 plan's revival is driven by Bezalel Smotrich, Israel's far-right finance minister and a staunch opponent of Palestinian statehood. Smotrich's ideology leaves no room for compromise. He openly seeks to annex the West Bank and erase the idea of a Palestinian state. In August 2025, Smotrich announced the E1 project would proceed, calling it a historic act to bury the two-state solution. The plan, over 3,400 new settler homes, permanently altering the West Bank's landscape. Smotrich framed the move as a bold assertion of Israeli sovereignty, claiming full government backing and signaling a break from years of diplomatic restraint. For him, E1 is not just construction, it's a declaration that the era of ambiguity is over. His actions dare the world to respond to a new, uncompromising Israeli policy. The E1 plan would redraw the map of the West Bank, creating a continuous Israeli bloc from Jerusalem to Ma'ale Adumim. This would split the West Bank in two, severing Ramallah from Bethlehem and isolating East Jerusalem from its Palestinian hinterland. For Palestinians, this means the end of a viable, contiguous state, replaced by disconnected enclaves. Critics argue E1 is designed to make a two-state solution impossible, cementing Israeli control and foreclosing future negotiations. The plan would encircle East Jerusalem, preempting any compromise over the city's status. The result? A fragmented West Bank, riddled with settlements and bypass roads, where Palestinian sovereignty is a distant dream. E1 is not just another settlement, it's a strategic move to reshape the conflict's future. Its implementation could make partition unworkable, locking both peoples into a one-state reality of perpetual tension. The E1 announcement triggered immediate global condemnation. The UN, UK, and EU all declared the plan a violation of international law and a direct threat to peace. Britain's foreign minister called it a flagrant breach, while the EU warned it would destroy the two-state solution. Even traditional allies like Germany and Turkey joined the outcry, denouncing the move as an assault on Palestinian rights. The US response was more cautious, urging stability, but stopping short of outright condemnation. This diplomatic split highlights the complexity of international alliances, and the growing alarm over E1's destabilizing potential. The world is watching, but consensus on action remains elusive. For Palestinians, E1's approval is a devastating blow, seen as the final step in erasing their hopes for statehood. The Palestinian Foreign Ministry condemned the plan as an act of annexation and displacement, especially for Bedouin communities facing imminent eviction. Human rights groups warn E1 will force removals and violate international law, deepening the humanitarian crisis. Israeli NGOs like Peace Now and Breaking the Silence also denounced the plan, calling it a death blow to peace and a move toward permanent apartheid. These groups argue E1 will lock both peoples into endless conflict, undermining Israel's democracy and moral standing. Opposition to E1 is not just Palestinian, it's shared by many Israelis who fear for their country's future. The plan's critics see it as a point of no return. International law is clear. Settlements in the West Bank, including E1, are illegal under the Fourth Geneva Convention. The UN, International Court of Justice, and most of the world reject Israel's claim that the West Bank is merely disputed. Despite this, Israel's government advances E1 under its own legal framework, defying global consensus. Smotrich himself is under sanctions from the UK, Canada, Australia and New Zealand for inciting violence and promoting settlement expansion. These sanctions are largely symbolic, but they signal mounting frustration and a willingness to hold individuals accountable. E1's approval, led by a sanctioned minister, is seen as a direct challenge to international norms. The world now faces a test. Will words be followed by meaningful action? E1's advancement is widely seen as the death knell for the two-state solution. By bisecting the West Bank, the plan destroys the territorial basis for a viable Palestinian state, turning it into isolated enclaves. Smotrich and his allies are explicit. E1 is meant to end the idea of partition and make Palestinian statehood impossible. For Palestinians, this means the end of their national dream. For Israelis, it risks perpetual conflict and international isolation. The international community faces a stark choice: accept a one-state reality of inequality, or act decisively to preserve the hope of peace. Sanctions, diplomatic pressure, or recognition of Palestine are all on the table, but time is running out. The stakes are nothing less than the future of millions, and the last hope for a negotiated end to one of the world's most enduring conflicts. The world must decide, intervene, or watch the two-state solution disappear forever.